Hello everyone. How are y'all doing on this fine afternoon? Welcome to the Monk Exhibit podcast. I would like to welcome our host, Jacob Poulan.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, to the Monk Exhibit. And today we're doing the book Iliad by Homer. And before I get started, I just set the setting. This book starts 9 years after the start of the Trojan War. So this Trojan War is still going on, but it's 9 years after. And basically, the Greek army known as Achaean. Yeah, it's a Greek army Achaean versus the Trojan army. And well, it starts off with the Achaean army raiding Chrysi or Christ. I don't really know that one. I looked up that one, but it didn't really. It's the town Chrysi that's allied with Trojan War. Chrysi. I looked that one up. I couldn't find one for that. The pronunciation. But anyways, during that battle, the Achaeans capture two ladies, Chryseis and Briseis. And well, Agamemnon, who's the leader of the Achaean, he takes Chryseis. And Achilles, who's the Achaean's strongest fighter, he takes Briseis. But Chryseis' father, Chryses, is a priest of the god Apollo. And so, since Agamemnon wouldn't give Chryses back, the Chryses is like, hey, Apollo, they won't give him back. I need your help. And so that's what they do. And so Apollo ends up sending a plague on the Achaean camp. Just camera. Hold up. Just one sec. Is that better? That's better. We're in the Christmas pajamas. It's Christmas time. So yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the phone, but the camera's right here. Sorry about that. So that's where it starts off in the book. That sets the tone for the whole book, the setting, and basically how it's gonna go. Because most of the book, the gods are just teaming up with the different armies, Trojan and the Achaean army. Because there I know what the outcome's gonna be, but I guess I just want to help or whatever. But yeah. And well, because Agamemnon, so we're talking about how Apollo sent a plague on the Achaean army, and well, Agamemnon, after he figured out that was Apollo, he then got kind of scared, and so then he eventually gave Chryseis back to her father, Chryses, and well, in return, he wanted Achilles to give Briseis to him. But Achilles, he took that as an insult. He thought you think I'm worthless to you? You think I don't owe you anything? Kinda like that. He's the strongest fighter. And so because of that, since he got insulted real bad like that, he just left. He took out of the whole war, and so that gave the Achaean army a huge disadvantage since they've lost their best warrior. Now Achilles is kind of not really against, but he's not against the Achaean army. He's just against Agamemnon, who's the leader. So he kind of is, I guess. But basically, he asked his mother, Thetis, who is, like a sea nymph, and she, Zeus owes her, like, a favor or whatever. And so, because of that, Achilles asked Thetis to ask Zeus to, like, not send, like, a plague, but to just, like, give the Trojan help. Give the Trojan army help. So, like, to go against the Achaean army. Right? And so, now that Zeus is on the Trojan side, and now that the Achaeans have lost Achilles, the Achaeans are, like, in major loss right now. Like, they're losing a lot. A lot. So, now there's, like, even more conflict going on after they kind of, like, they didn't really, like, settle the beef, but they kind of, like, made, like, this little, like, treaty. But now that Zeus is on the Trojan side, they kind of, like, broke it, you know? And so, now, they have tons of, like, battles now. Especially to, like, the main warriors, Paris and Menelaus, and also Hector and Ajax. And because the Achaeans are so much at a disadvantage, they're making zero progress. And so the Achaeans are actually losing progress, because now that they're losing so bad, they're getting pushed back all the way back to their ships, to where the Trojans actually burnt down one of the Achaean ships. So, yeah. And without the ships, the Trojans have kind of won, because then the Achaeans are just stranded, and they can't really, like, get any more help or, like, get any more supplies and all that. So they lose if they destroy their ships, because, like, the Trojans are kind of the high ground here, but the Achaeans had a lot more, like, going for them, a lot more advantages. But now they lost those advantages. So finally, Nestor, who is part of the Achaean side, proposes a plan to Achilles, where basically Patroclus goes in battle with Achilles' armor. Except Patroclus promised Achilles that he'd only do it to where, like, he'd only stay at the ships, right? But he ended up breaking that promise, and he pushed them all the way back, pushed the Trojans all the way back to the sea walls, which is good, except Achilles didn't want him to do that, because he didn't want him to die. And because of that, he ended up dying. I mean, he told him not to, so, like, kind of his fault. But yeah, and so, like, everyone was trying to, like, get his Patroclus' armor, because, I mean, it's Achilles' armor, so it's, like, super good. So everyone was trying to get that armor, and ended up Hector getting it. And Hector is, like, kind of like the main dude. So, Hector's the one who ended up killing Patroclus, and so he ended up getting the armor. And so it wasn't until, like, later, once Menelaus and many others drug Patroclus' body back to camp. And so, yeah, so Achilles ends up figuring that out, that he's dead, and he's like, he's just angry at that point. He's just filled with rage, and he wants revenge. And well, now Achilles' armor is gone, and so he asks his mother Thetis to go to Mount Olympus and ask Hephaestus, the god of fire and, like, crafting and all that. He asks Thetis, to ask Hephaestus if Hephaestus could build a new set of, like, Achaean armor for him, or just armor that's, like, Achaean. Except he has to wait until like the next morning to get it. Because Hephaestus, he probably could have built it like right then and there, considering he's a god. But he did not end up doing that. And so yeah, so Achilles had to wait till the morning, and in the morning he was still super angry, and so he got that armor, and he headed out to battle that morning. So Hector, he wasn't expecting Achilles to come back and join the battle, and so he kind of just told his men to just stay at the city's walls and just watch for anyone, not like readying any like whole big troops or armies. And so that was like his downfall, because then once he saw Achilles, all the dudes at the city walls just kind of ran, because they're not like the big warriors like Hector in Paris, and so Achilles is just basically killing everyone that he sees, and he actually ends up fighting the river god Xanthus, because Achilles is just like throwing the bodies into Xanthus' river, and it's just like kind of like clogging up the river. And well, eventually Achilles finds Hector, and Hector gets persuaded by Athena to fight and duel, which is his biggest mistake, because Hector ends up dying. And it's actually kind of funny, because now at this point, Achilles, he's still super angry. He actually drags Hector's body across the whole battlefield and the camp. He's still angry. But the good thing is that they ended up having a funeral for Patroclus by having like a long series of athletic games in his honor. So that's good. That's good. But the Trojans want Hector's body, and because they want like a proper burial, and they do so by sending the god Hermes, or Zeus sends the god Hermes to escort King Priam, which is Hector's father, and the ruler of Troy, into the king camp. So the dude just begs and begs. And then what he finally gets Achilles is by mentioning Achilles' father, Peneleus. And that's when Achilles kind of got his heart touched, and he figured, okay, here you go. So yeah, so that was the main points, the main summary of Iliad by Homer. And that's it for this podcast of the Monkey Exhibit. And goodbye.
Jacob Poulan is still currently trying to pronounce these names as we speak. But that is all for this podcast of the Monk Exhibit. Goodbye.